There is probably nothing more attractive than a person who is always active. No matter what, no matter where, no matter when, at what age, that person is constantly active. And I think that's probably how Yitro becomes the hero of this week's parasha. The parasha of Matan Torah will have his name. Can you believe it? Someone who was not Jewish, someone who was a priest, a preacher for the Avodah Zarah. And he gets this tremendous zechut forever and ever to have his name attached to the parasha of Matan Torah. But who is Yitro? Who is this mysterious person introduced by the Torah in this week's parasha as Kohen Midian and Choten Moshe, the priest of Midian and the father-in-law of Moshe? Someone definitely remarkable, someone definitely who made an impact on Jewish history and probably on the world history as well. So let's find out. I find something very interesting in the first Pesukim of the parasha. We have this man who heard something. Vayishma Yitro Kohen Midian. He heard about Yetziat Mitzrayim. He heard about the miracles. He heard about Amalek. He heard about so many things that happened in the hands of Borei Olam for the sake of his people. But Yitro acts. Immediately after, we have so many verbs that describe a man of action. Vayikach Yitro, Vayomer Yitro, Vayichad Yitro, Vayavo Yitro. He says, he takes, he comes, he shakes, he feels. That's a man of action. That's a man who is probably not young anymore, but still acts, still does. And that probably sets the tone of the first word of this week's parasha, Vayishma Yitro. Because in Hebrew the word Shomea, which by the way defines us as Jews, remember that Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. To listen is crucial for the Jewish identity. And the Torah presents us, Yitro, introduces us, this mysterious person, with the same sentence, Vayishma. He heard, or I should say, he listened. Why am I saying he listened? Because we hear things all the time. We are attached to the news. We hear events that are happening by us, around us, and even far from us. But the real question is, what do we do about it? How do we act? How do we react to those events? I can just turn on my device and watch the news or read the news, listen to the news. And I am the same person. I remain the same. Or I act accordingly. And that's not just about the news. That's for all the events happening around us or happening to us. When Has v'Shalom, we hear that this person got sick, that this person Bar Minan passed away, that person lost his job, that this person is unfortunately going through a very hard situation. It is always a test. It is Borei Olam communicating with us and see how we are going to react. We can always hear. The question is, what do we do next? Are we going to be like Yitro? Are we going to change? Are we going to grow? And by the way, from the bad, just like the good, when good things happen to us, when we can witness a miracle by us or by someone else, we have an obligation to say something. We have an obligation to express that even in public. This is what we call the Birkat Hagomel. Hagomel lehayavim tovot shegemalani kol tuv. It is not enough to just witness something good that happened to us and to even be thankful about it. Share it. Say something about it. Let other people know. But most importantly, be a changed person. Act accordingly. That is the Yitro that the parasha introduces us. But most importantly, That is also the context that the Torah is trying to put us as we accept the Torah. It is so important as we are going to listen to the Aseret HaDiberot, as we are going to receive a sample from the beautiful Torah, that we understand that this is not just about the text. It's not just about the law. It is mostly about reading between the lines. Reading between the lines. It is about accomplishing the Ratzon of Borei Olam. It is about understanding what He expects from us. Because we don't just have the Torah Shebichtav. We don't just have the written Torah. We have the Torah Shebe'al Peh. We have a tremendous amount of halachot, of midrashim, of agadot that come from the Torah Shebichtav. Why? Because Borei Olam is asking from us, please read between the lines. Don't just get stuck to the text. Feel, understand, analyze, question, and eventually we can change. Eventually we can grow. Eventually we can act accordingly. Just like Yitro, who did not get stuck by his job, by his position, by his reputation, but he was able to constantly make the necessary change because he listened, because he read between the lines. He understood that the world is driven, is guided, is controlled and managed by Borei Olam. And I believe that this is also why the Torah chose to take this particular name, because the truth is that Yitro himself had many names. We have Hovav, we have Reuel, we have Yeter. The Midrash names many other names that Yitro had. And yet we chose for this week's parasha to stick to one name, Yitro, because it comes from the word Yeter, Yoter. You can switch around the vav in the end and put it in the beginning. Yoter in Hebrew means more. Look for more. Always aim for higher. And like we said, try to read between the lines. Make the extra step. Get out of your comfort zone and make the necessary efforts to grow, to listen, to act. This is the amazing legacy that this man leaves behind him. This is the legacy of Matan Torah. This is the legacy of Am Yisrael to the world. We are watching, we are listening, and we act accordingly. We are ready to change. We are ready to accept that we may be wrong. We can be proud of that. We bring revolutions to the world. We bring innovation to the world. Why? Because we have the Torah. Because we have the courage to auto-criticize ourselves, just like Yitro did, just for the sake of the emet, just for the sake of the truth, just for the sake of the yashrut. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the strength, the courage to overcome the laziness, the routine, the habits that we have for years, and to be able to get out of our comfort zone, to be able to see through, to be able to become like Yitro, to be able to be truly good Jews, and to be Mekadesh Shem Hashem Barabim Uba'olam. Shabbat Shalom U'Borach.